Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have Matt with me, aka the Beard of Darkness. Welcome, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh my goodness, I've been looking forward to this so much. We've had this planned for like a month and a half, 2 months, and,
Yes.
and, and every day I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, it's getting closer. We're doing this. You're one of the very first booktubers I watched.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you.
Of course,
I hope you got some good recommendations out of it.
I did. So yeah, like I don't know how I fell into the indie fantasy niche, but you have a lot to do with that.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome because it's when I started the channel, I was more of a mix, and then I dove like headfirst into it. So that's awesome.
What
And
what, what did you love
yeah.
about it?
A lot of it was the tropes were flipped on their heads. So more
Yes,
often than not, the stories turned out so differently compared to what I thought they would. Character work was completely different than the typical stories and characters I had seen. I just loved how creative these authors got with their stories.
freedom. They got
Yeah,
freedom, right?
exactly. Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about your channel, Matt?
Of course, yeah. So, Beard of Darkness book reviews. So when I first started the page, my idea of what I was going to do was a little bit different than what I am currently doing. I was like, okay, I really like Mike's book reviews. I like Matt's
Mhm.
fantasy book reviews. I like what Patrick's doing. I liked a little bit of everything, and I thought that I would do a lot of uploaded videos of like, okay, I'm going to read this book and review it. This really simple kind of format, this thing and that. And then all of a sudden, I joined Twitter, which I think that if there's authors or booktubers or anybody who likes the fantasy or indie community, any like the reading community, period, I think that that's just one of the most wonderful places to engage and be a part of the community. Once I
Mhm.
joined, I really just started talking. I don't know really how it happened, but indie authors. I see Jackie Hagen's here, Jacqueline Hagen. She was one that I first sought out. I talked to her last night. What a wonderful person. And then of course there's EC
Absolutely.
Greaves here. And it went from me wanting to like upload these daily kind of just normal, I don't know, maybe not normal, but like these monotonous videos to I have to, like, in order to take myself serious, like I took these other booktubers serious, I have to do
Mhm.
interviews and really get in there. And
Right.
so I took a chance and I reached out to some authors. I have to say, the first couple I reached out to, the first two,
Mhm.
was Alec Hudson
Okay, yeah.
and Mike Moman, and they both sent me these repertoires like of their work, like 3 or 4 books each. And I told them I was on top of the moon.
Yeah. There's
And
nothing like it. Just,
oh
doing it because you love it and then getting that love back from them, right?
yeah,
That
I thought
excitement.
I was like these celebrities because these people in my mind are just doing the coolest thing ever. I
Yeah.
have to talk with these people, and so I've kind of just built my channel. I reach out to the people that I find very interesting, and I talk with them. It's really as simple as that now.
I love it because one of the earlier advice I was given, because I was terrified to reach out to authors about interviews. That
Yeah,
came later on my channel because I was like, "No, they're way up here. There's no
yeah,
way little old me can be talking to them." And, the best advice I got was, "Well, you can ask, and the worst thing that happens is they say no."
yeah,
Right?
one
That
hundred
you never
percent.
know. You never know. And speaking of, we have some amazing people in the chat. We had Ed here, who is here super early, 40 minutes. Kudos.
Yeah, that's my guy.
And, oh, yeah, brutal interrogation is about to happen, apparently.
I guess so. It's gonna happen, guys.
We have, Solf.
Yeah, he's a regular over on my channel. He's a new
Oh, nice.
writer. Yeah, he's in my Discord. He's a super cool guy. He's
Awesome.
really here for the same reason, to learn as me.
That's awesome. I love it. Welcome. Tim, awesome guy. I was actually lucky enough to meet Tim in person.
Oh
Uh,
wow,
we met up for he's local to me. We
nice.
realized after the fact, so it was lovely to be able to meet you, Tim, and have a coffee and chit chat about everything books. We've got Charlie in. Wow, lots of people. Bert, Timothy. Hey, guys. Great way to end a Sunday, isn't it?
It is. It's so like humbling, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm assuming this is, your other half?
It is. It is my
Oh,
other half.
nice to meet you. And yeah, there's so many people in here. You guys are awesome. So, Matt, I always like to start off with, what are you reading?
So there's a few different things. I'm listening and I'm kind of reading at the same time. But as of last night, oh my gosh, so gracious. Look, guys, audiobook production is not cheap. This is something that I know Kayla knows.
Mhm.
Kay, I'm sorry if I used your name.
Oh, Kayla, Kay, either one.
The Wickwire Watch. I'm listening to that, and it's very impressive.
Yes,
I was
it's so good.
way up past my bedtime last night. I told Jacqueline Hagan last night. I said, "Look, you've ruined my night now, but in the best way possible." So I listened 6 chapters deep. What I'm reading right now is here. Let me grab it. Here we go. Uh, 2 books. The first of which, "We Are the Dead" by Mike Shackle.
Nice.
Loving it. Exquisitely bleak, beautifully dark, wonderfully written. And look, guys, it's for me personally. I love reading these type of books. I
Mhm.
love a dark, grim, dark fantasy. I won't do 4, 5, 6 in a row because then I'll be like, oh man, I'm kind of sad today. But I'm loving it. And then I just started this, got it in the mail. SPF BO9 finalist, Clayton Snyder, Cold West.
Nice. Very nice. And so you're just in the beginning of that one, sorry?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like halfway through We Are the Dead. I'm at the beginning of Cold West.
Oh, okay, nice, nice.
What about you? What are you reading?
So I'm reading a hodgepodge of everything because I'm trying to get all my reads in before the end of November, which is quickly approaching. I don't know what
It,
happens to the months,
I
but
know.
they come up quick. So I'm reading for SFINCS, which is a indie novella championship similar to Spiffbo.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's just for novellas in the speculative fiction area, so fantasy, sci-fi, and all that.
what was the name of the competition?
SFINCS, so the speculative fiction
SFINCS. Sorry.
CS. Yeah, no, go for it. Um, yeah, so it's the speculative fiction indie novella championship. So similar to Spiffbo, I'm a judge on Team BookTube, and I'm so nervous just because it's completely different mindset from just reviewing. But I am currently reading, I'm going to see if I can pull it up here, The Servant of a Pale Sword by Tim Aker.
A Servant of a Pale Sword.
Yes,
What
Servant
a
of a Pale Sword by Tim Aker. Let me see if
brilliant.
and lets me get the cover here, if I can show that. So I've just got it on my phone because it's a e-copy there. My Kindle's upstairs.
Ooh, yeah. I like how simple it is.
Similar to what you were describing, it's darker, it's a bit bleaker. It's been really interesting so far. And then I'm also in Rebirth by Christopher Russell. I'm also reading the Voidwalker collection by Derek Bailey. So I've got a few on the go at the moment. That one is a collection of novellas, 8 of them. And basically, this man wakes up at a dinner party in this manor with everyone at the table, all fancy and eating, and he has no idea who he is, how he got there, or who these people are. So it's kind of like like a mansion mystery setting.
Mhm.
So that's been fun too.
That's different. I like that, the mansion mystery. I haven't read now. What I'm reading now, or listening to, and kind of reading at the same time, the Wickwire Watch kind of feels like this. What really brought me into fantasy, which was a book by J.M. Miro. It was his debut
Hmm.
novel called Ordinary Monsters. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
guys!
yes.
It's a Victorian London fantasy. There's eventually in the book, which it really ends up being a huge part of the series. It's a trilogy coming out, which he's taken his time to release. Totally okay. That gives me time to start a BookTube channel and reach out to the publisher and hopefully do an interview with him.
That
uh,
would be awesome.
but I loved it. It was a debut. Like I said, Ordinary Monsters. It's like when you say a magic academy or magical academy,
Mm,
we all go to Harry Potter. I feel like I think that's kind of like a
mm,
growing up when I did.
yeah,
I was born in '90, so I grew up with a lot of Harry Potter books
same.
first, and then the movies. And so this academy is a little more adult. What I
Okay.
mean by that, instead of like a wand, there's people plagued with certain issues, like physically,
Mm,
rather
okay.
than being able to say "Wingardium Leviosa."
How
They've got some.
charming.
Yeah, yeah. It's not so charming in this one, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
Yeah, I've
uh,
I've heard good things about that one. The only reason I haven't gotten it yet is it's such a chunker.
it's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really it's like before that novel, I didn't dip into reading so much. Like I went between graduating high school and the age of 29 and
Yeah.
didn't touch a book. And that was the first one I picked back up. I was like, this looks really cool, and that's why I'm here. That book.
That's awesome. I love it. I love origin stories.
Yeah, they're so inspiring, right?
Absolutely. It's Monday for Charlie here and and Ed, I think, too. So you guys are pulling double duty while you're
Right.
at work. And yes, H.C. Newell's book, starting with Curse of the Fallen, which is down here.
There it is.
Anyone who needs a visual.
Yeah.
This one I'm actually hoping to start in the new year. I actually attempted to start it this year, doing the audiobook and because I do immersion reading and the physical copy. But the audiobook is actually out of date to the newest edition that I have.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold off and I'll pick this back up a little later.
I see Daniel Clouser down there talking about a book
Hmm.
that I can't wait to get a hold of by what is it,
Yes,
Josiah
Bancroft.
Bancroft? Yeah. The Hexologist. That sounds amazing.
I have it too. I'm so
Of
excited.
course Kay does.
Well, I see. Okay, I have so many books on the TBR, but I don't read fast enough.
Yeah,
That is
no,
the struggle.
I get it.
And we have a few others here too. We've got Bex and welcome Bex. Jackie, I'm sorry there are no cinnamon buns today.
What a good question, because look, we're all like tantalized by the cinnamon bun video.
You know what? Those videos are great for everyone except my hips.
Oh gosh.
uh, no, they're delicious, but yeah,
My
moderation.
wife is a huge cinnamon bun freak. She like
They're so
sometimes
good.
she accidentally like there's a fine medium. Like you can underdo them and you can overdo them very
Mm.
easily.
Oh
And
yeah.
look, if they're either one of those, she's like, nope, nobody's getting any because they're not perfect. But once you get them like that perfect, you got to have them all, right?
Oh, exactly. And that's when that tray becomes yours.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are really sweet. Thank you. Absolutely. You know what? HC is a sweetheart as well. So if you haven't gone to check out her books, definitely go do that. Bert K is yes. So SFINCS is the one with Shaggy as well as Nathan, I believe.
Who runs the SP or the SFINCS? Who runs that? I know like Mark Lawrence does Spiffbo.
Yeah, so it's between Shaggy and Nathan. So Nathan used to be part of I can't remember the name of it. He
You
used to
say
co
Shaggy?
yeah,
I've got
Shaggy.
her. I have her in my Discord. How do I not know this? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's first running, so it's the first time it's ever been done. So it's not as well known, but we're trying to get the word out there best we can.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Hexologist, yep. So yes, see all the love for HC. Where is HC?
I know a lot of people that are coming from my channel. I've interviewed, I think 3 times now, because like I think the first one was like an interview. I got a hold of her.
Mm,
She got a hold of me, one of the two. And then the second one was a talk about the release of her book. And then the third one was like the release party.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've talked to her a few times. She's super cool. My wife, Book Mama 87, that is her first. Look, I've tried to talk her into many fantasy novels, none of
Okay.
which have prevailed, except, yeah, the first H.C. Newell book, Curse of the Fallen.
Well, that you know what? That means cheers to HC and maybe a little gift her way.
Yep, exactly.
I know that feeling. My husband is not so much of a reader,
Okay.
so we're trying this year because he opts for nonfiction.
Ooh,
So
yeah. He's an
he'll
analytical mind.
Yes, absolutely. So he's read books about neuroscience and the studies they've done over the years and how they found out certain things and
I
how
love
the
that.
brain works. It's really good, dense, very good. But he reads them few and far apart and very
He's like,
slowly.
I want my books to be something that I can put my finger on, like it's real. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
I think us fantasy nerds are like, now I can relate with him. Don't get me wrong. I totally
Yeah.
love that type thing. In fact, I kind of, I'm the guy that will like, hey, do you know how this came apart? Like Sheldon and the Big Bang Theory. No, not even close to his intelligence. Not even close.
Yeah.
But if I know something, I'm totally stopping the
For sure.
party and informing everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I think it depends on the history. He's quite picky, which is where it's tricky to get him to pick up certain books, right? So he has to
Mhm.
really love it or the author if he's watched them in talks and stuff like that. But if you have a recommendation, by all means, share it and I will pass it along.
That's
Where
my Discord moderator, and he's a very efficient guy. I'm almost certain he has a recommendation.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, this year for Christmas, we're gonna try that. I can't pronounce it for the life of me. The Icelandic tradition where you exchange books on Christmas Eve and you spend the night reading.
Oh wow, I don't know what that is, but that sounds amazing.
Right? I cannot pronounce it. If you Google it, you will find the name.
Icelandic book trading tradition.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas Eve tradition. But so we're gonna try and do that, and this is his kind of full first-hearted attempt into fiction. So he's gonna be trying, Neuromancer, which is a
Oh
sci-fi
wow.
classic, yeah.
So what it looks like to me is Jalabakaflod.
That's probably it. Yes.
I love it. That I have to look more into that because I've
Mm,
never heard that. And I love like the one of my favorite things. I don't know about you, but like talking to so many people, it brings this unawareness to me, at least. Like,
mm,
okay, I know my day to day and my the monotonous Matthew day. There it is. Yep,
yep.
Jalabaka flawed. That's how I would say it, and probably get it so wrong. They're like, "No, no, you stupid American."
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Ed's got an alternative here, sorry. Believe the word for it, always better way to do
oh,
Christmas.
way better. Yeah, I love it.
Love
Um,
it.
So yeah, I actually I got derailed there for a second. I don't remember what I was saying.
Oh,
Does that
sorry.
happen? Oh no no no, that ain't your fault. Darn you, EC, with a way better Christmas idea, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what was I saying? I think I don't. I'll come back to it.
Okay. Alright. We're on the topic of traditions, finding things, talking to people, if that
Culture.
helps. Culture, there you go.
That was it. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. So yeah, one of my favorite things, and tell me if you can relate,
Mm,
Kay. When you speak to people, even if it's just like down the road, like people
mm,
have different lives, and speaking to other
absolutely.
humans, especially like I have people in the UK. Like if I travel to the UK, I can call up some guys now,
Yeah.
gals, and say, "Hey, me and my family's coming through. What should we do? And can we meet for coffee?"
Yeah, ex
Um,
yes.
Never had that before. Isn't that so cool?
It's amazing. I've done that here locally, but even when we went on a road trip, back in the fall, I tried to meet up with Anitha Gade. If you
Mhm.
haven't checked out her channel, she's an absolute sweetheart. She's very passionate about books too. She has
What was the
lots of
last name?
Gade, Gade. And she was just, like, on the way, but timing-wise, it didn't work out, unfortunately, but we tried. We
Next
absolutely
time.
tried. Yes. Definitely. We have Joe in the chat.
I love him.
Welcome,
He
Joe.
gave me one of my very first interviews ever where he knew, oh, this guy's he's a greenhorn, and I'm still gonna come on his channel.
He's such a nice guy. Joe,
He's a class act.
you're a gem. Actually, I interviewed him recently on the channel too.
Yep. I was
Yeah,
there. I watched it.
that's
It was
right.
wonderful. Yes, about what is it? Partial Function.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
recent release. Go check it out, guys. We're gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
plugging everyone's books.
everybody. That's what we do.
Uh, Dan? Is it Dan?
It's
Mhm. I always get mixed up, I'm
it's
sorry.
not Dan. I don't remember. But he's an awesome
Arts and
booktuber.
Books. Yes.
Yeah, dude, he's like, if you want to hear about books and Usman, that's him, Usman.
Usman. That's
Yes,
it.
he is just one of the most intelligent guys on BookTube, and he just delivers it,
Absolutely.
no BS. He's giving it to you straight, and I love it. Good job. I hope to keep seeing new videos from you forever.
I can't say it any better, Matt. And for the record, I'm terrible with names, so I absolutely apologize if I ever
Me too.
forget anyone's names. Uh,
There it is.
okay. Wistfully happy to see you this evening. Charm. Absolute
Look at
charm
that. She
there.
does listen to what I have to say.
So, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the interviews have been going for you? How's your experience been? Because you were mentioning you started off with Joe as a bit of a greenhorn there, and you've done so many. I don't know how
Yeah.
you do as many as you do. How's
Uh,
it been going?
It's been going wonderfully. So one of the things that I learned right off the bat was don't look, and I hope everybody takes this so serious. I'm usually like this really funny, nonchalant kind of person, but I'm being very, very serious. What I learned by reaching out to other authors, and JC Unburn, you were one of the very first, which I think is so cool, man. You taught me to not be afraid to reach
Mm.
out to people uh, that I hold higher and or are doing something that I want to do. Don't be afraid to reach out or put yourself out there.
Mhm.
I remember I just did a stream with Tori Tekken,
Mhm.
who also a wonderful author.
Absolutely.
Mike Books Reviews, who I would have look. I told my wife when I was done with the stream, oh my goodness, if I could have seen myself when I first started YouTube, like if I had a stream with Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, I would have absolutely, pardon my friends, but pooped the bed, if you will. Like
Yeah.
him, and then Go Read Books, who Matt Pittman from Go Read Books, who's just
Yes.
become one of my most wonderful friends from BookTube. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. People don't know you're interested unless you say, "Hey, I'm interested." So that was number one. That was the first thing I learned. So I've kind of lost my barriers. Not 100%. There's some people who I still hope to be able
Mm.
to speak with that I haven't reached out to yet that I'm kind of waiting for. But I have a lot of people coming up who I never would in a million years guessed would want to talk to me. So put yourself out there, guys. Seriously, you're doing yourself a disservice to not do that. Um, as far as interviews goes, um, one of the things I wanted to talk about the channel, author DB Rook. He's the author of Callous and Crow, a kind of grim, dark, apocalyptic creatures, really fun but dark kind of book. David T. List. He wrote Violence and Vigilance, another kind of yeah, it's grim dark, I would say, in a way. Definitely, yeah, it is. It's a miserable place to live. Excuse me. And then Tom Bookbeard, a wonderful reviewer,
Mm.
future indie author. He's working on a book right now. We all have beards. So DB Rook contacted me one day and he says, "Man, look, I'm going on vacation, but when I get back, I want to talk to you about something." And me, I'm like, okay, he wants to do an interview or something. But he had this wonderful idea to do like this podcast of us bearded guys, and he had been thinking about this for a while, it seems like, and it's called the Four Beardsmen of the Book Apocalypse.
I
So we're
love
gonna
it.
be, yeah, we're all four of us are bearded men. We're gonna be talking about books, indie books, indie board games, just lots of indie fantasy themed things. We're gonna be talking about each other's books because we're all kind of like writing things at the moment. And I see it being a long term um, thing that we're doing. I'm really excited about it. If you give me a second,
For sure. Yeah.
I'll see what here it is. Here it is. when our debut podcast is. And look, so two of us are from the US and two of them are in the UK, Tom and DB Rook.
Mhm.
And like we did this like initial kind of like chat. It wasn't live or anything. And just the chemistry. Like we poke at each other. It's fun. It's like, oh, of course you Americans would do that. Or of course you Englishmen would do that. Like
Yeah.
Tom was drinking cherry mead and DB Rook's drinking like this really fine whiskey, and I'm drinking Bush Light. And he's like, "Of course, you Americans would be drinking it." So the chemistry's
Yeah,
there, the
that's awesome.
fantasy's there. It's gonna be so fun.
And is there, like, a timeline on when that might be starting?
Yeah. So December 9th is our first. It's gonna be at 4
Okay.
p.m. I'm not quite sure what the topic or what we're going to be talking about, but you can bet we will talk about it a little before it happens.
Mhm.
But it's going to be fun. I hope lots of people are excited about it. We posted about it like maybe a little less than a month ago, and people seemed really enthusiastic about it. So I'm hoping that people are happy and looking forward to once it starts, kind of liking what we're doing.
Mm,
So yeah, December
that's
9th.
awesome. Yeah, so what I'll do, Matt, is whenever you have a link up, for that, send it my way, and I'll add it in the description below.
I love that. Thank you so much. I definitely will.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I've noticed you're really good at is getting your like links way ahead of time. That's something I have to work on because, like you said, I talk to a lot of people and I have 4 kids and a wife, and like
Yeah. I
I have
mean
to work on that.
well, I mean, you have to for me, I have to look at what's priority and what can I do with the time I have, right? So, I generally, if it helps at all, I keep a template and then I grab the author's links from wherever I can find them, and then I do a final ask. Do you have any extras?
Ooh,
And I'll toss those in. So if that helps, keep a template of your regular description, and then
okay.
toss the author's ones up top.
Now, do you keep a template? Is that in YouTube or is that in actual StreamYard?
So the template of the description I keep is actually in a Word document.
That's brilliant.
So
That's
that way I
great.
can just copy and paste, and any adjustments I need to do for like hashtags or anything like that, I'll do in the description itself. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I love Ed's comment
Wonderful.
here. The funniest thing to me is that approaching reviewers and YouTubers is scary too, but we're all just stinky wee monkeys. No reason to be intimidated by fame. Everybody poops. Yes, we do.
What a wonderful way to say, "Hey guys, we're human."
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I always appreciate I don't know if you find this, I'm sure you do, but, I always appreciate when authors reach out to me, tag me, say, "Hey, are you interested in this?" I will say it's hard for me to always reply in a
Mm,
timely manner, but I love it. I love when you reach out and tell me about your book because, yes, my TBR is crazy
mhm.
in size, but I'm always looking for more reads, and my mood changes what I read, so I always appreciate it.
I told Kayla before we started this, every time I watch her videos in the background here, she's got those Joe Abercrombie. I wish I was part of the subscription box of the Broken Binding before
Mm.
because I'm still not. Their list is like this long, guys. I think the last time I checked, I was like number 7,000.
Oh, yeah, I
So I
didn't know it was
signed up
that
like,
bad.
oh my gosh, they're doing stuff that's like out of this world, right? But
Yeah,
I can see it every time. I'm like, oh, I wish I could grab those. They're so amazing. I'm so happy that you have those. Those are beautiful.
they are. I actually really lucked out. I just happened to be Twitter. I just happened to be on Twitter at the right time, and I managed to get in.
Hmm.
And, so it's been amazing. It's added books to my TBR,
Hmm.
of course, but,
How
yeah, they're
far are you in Joe Abercrombie's books?
so I finished the first trilogy, the First Law trilogy. I haven't continued on with the second trilogy because 1, I was waiting for these because I knew they were coming.
Oh, they're so
Um,
gorgeous.
but also I I don't know if anyone else is like this, but when a series continues and it's the new generation, the next generation, I'm a little nervous. Does anyone else find that? I'm a little hesitant, a little nervous to move on from the characters that I came to love into the
Mhm.
younger generation and seeing them through their kids or the younger generation's eyes.
Yeah, so are you nervous about the change of character? Are you nervous that that trilogy may not get finished?
No, I think I'm more concerned, about my experience of it.
Okay.
Because I've come to love those characters and not seeing the story through their eyes anymore, it's just a change. That's all it is.
Who's your
It's
favorite character in the first Law?
Glokta,
Oh, for
easily.
sure.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you remember in the first book, the blade itself? I almost cried, and I don't cry. Like I'm looking for that book that actually brings a tear, like a visible, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actual physical tear to my eye. Still, it hasn't happened yet. I'm still
Okay.
searching for you. Reach out to me if you've got it.
I've got
But
one, but it's hit or miss. So,
okay, what is it, real quick?
Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong.
I have it.
That made me cry.
I haven't I haven't dipped into it yet. I'm looking at it right now. It's too far. I'll mess my green screen up, and then people be like, "Oh,
No,
this guy's
it's
not serious." No, but no, I have it, and I'm jealous for everybody who has that Kickstarter edition. It's so beautiful.
It
So I'm
is.
that's moved up on my TBR now. Um, but JCM Burns says, "I cry every time I read my tax return." Come on, man, that's a different story, right?
A little too
Um,
close to home on that
we
one.
we went personal, guys. It got real right there. No, but there's a part, and I believe it's like I don't remember his name, but so Glocta was injured in this war,
Mhm.
and his best buddy, it's like Marshall. Do you remember his
Oh,
name?
I read this back in
Captain.
2019.
It was a while ago. Yeah,
It was
me
a
too.
while ago.
But no, so Glock is like this really rough and tough injured guy throughout this miserable part of his life, and he's really kind of like a bastard, really. And
Mhm.
he tortures people, so he's really not given a lot of empathy from the reader. And then
Mm-mm.
there's this part at the end where his best buddy comes to visit him, Glockta, at home.
Mhm.
And he's always been kind of sore that this guy that I can't remember his name didn't come to visit him because they were buddies in the war, and then Glockta gets injured, and
Mhm.
this guy comes to visit him, and he's like, "You didn't even come to my house to make sure I was okay." To find out, Glockta's mother turned him away, and all of a
Oh,
sudden, this really, really callous, hard guy becomes this human person, and I was just
yeah.
like, "Oh my, yes, yes, West." That's his name. Yes, West.
Oh, yes.
But all of a sudden, Glockta becomes this human.
Yeah.
And it just has been one of the most special moments that I'll ever remember in a book. Almost
Mm.
every time it makes me almost just get there. It really
Yeah.
does.
Oh, that's awesome. We also have another recommendation for you, The Bleeding Stone by Joe Lee, which I believe Joe just got married.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm
wonderful.
the book might be on sale, so go check that out.
The Bleeding Stone by Jolie. Made you tear up there, Bert, huh? Love it, dude. Seriously. You recommend a book that makes me cry, and me and you have to talk on the channel. So
There
I'm
you
holding you
go.
to it, Bert.
That's awesome. We have Only Crying with Rocky. Yep.
Sylvester.
So, have you continued on with the trilogy, the second
I
trilogy?
so I'm halfway through before they are hanged, right? Before
Okay.
they're hanged. I'm listening to that on audiobook by the one and only unapproachable as far as talent, Stephen Pacey.
Yes.
Um, just I don't even understand. Like God gave him this voice that was like, look, you are meant for something like just you're away from the crowd, man. Uh,
Yeah.
and he does an interview. I believe it's with Captured in Words. I don't know
Okay.
his real name, but on that channel, so it's Joe Abercrombie and then Stephen Pacey.
Mm.
What a duo! Because they have this relationship. He's narrated his
Yeah.
book. They have this close relationship during that period,
Yes,
and I believe
absolutely.
he's done all his books. So to get them
Mm.
both on this at the same time, which doesn't surprise me, the guy's got so many followers or subscribers.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a special one. You guys should check that interview out from Captured in Words.
Mm.
It's amazing because you get this like dynamic between narrator and author that you normally don't see in an interview,
Mm.
and it's really special.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out because
It's super cool.
I don't think I've watched it. But Tim has a recommendation for you too, Merlin by Stephen R. Lawhead.
I may have that. Is it? Hold on, let me grab it real quick.
And Bert, thank you. Yes, they're both of them are on for 99 cents. That's perfect.
Okay, no, it's not. It's not the same one, but I have Mad Merlin by J. Robert King. So I'm sure. I'm sure that there's something. Is it kind of a King Arthur deal? Tim McKay. I think we actually talked about this during our interview, Tim. I don't remember. But yeah, so actually, Matt's fantasy book reviews had like these booktubers on. What was your favorite book of all time? And at this time, I was really, really into Tango books, and I still am. You know, if I have a book to
Mm,
sell, that's where I'm going.
yeah.
But this was like this guy was so enthusiastic. I don't. I wish I could remember the booktuber because I would shout him out. But um, he was like, "Look, not many people know this book, but this book changed my life. It's really Arthurian. It's King Arthur with a little bit of a twist on it." So I picked it up. Like I said, Mad Merlin by J. Robert King.
Nice. I'm gonna have to there's so many books. Every
There
time I
is.
hear a book title, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's going on the list." So, I'm curious then, with all the books that you've got on your TBR, is there, an author that would be new to you that you're wanting to prioritize?
um,
Not an easy question, I know.
no, it's okay. So I actually, yeah, a new author that I'm like dying to get to, but I know that if I pick his book up, that like I'll never finish what I'm at. Like if that's kind of the
Mm.
question, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, it would be Mark Timoney, The
Yes.
Blood of the Spear. Look at this naked hardback, guys.
It's so beautiful.
Look at that. And then you open it, and it's like, oh, I've got to check this
Mhm.
map out because look, we love maps, right? Am I right? Am I right?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
before you get to the map, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see the map. But then I see this. And then it's like, oh my goodness, he signed it. And then there it
Yeah.
is. And then hold on. I have a love for maps, but then when you do a double page map,
Mm. Yes.
oh yeah, you're high on the TBR. So that would be my throwaway right there. That would be my answer. And
Well,
hold on, this one too. Go ahead.
there's a Starbinder as well from Mark.
Ooh, I
The
haven't seen that one.
So it's kind of like a prequel novella, to The Blood of the Spear,
Oh
but
wow.
similar, very similar. It's got a hardcover edition that's just, like, absolutely beautiful,
Oh
just
yes.
stunning. Yeah, really
So
good.
number two would be yeah, a guy that I just learned about who is adored by Philip Chase as
Yes.
Von Roycroft, The Severing Son, which he just released his second book in this series, but I haven't
Mhm.
read the first one yet, and I'm really excited.
Same, I've got that one too actually on my TBR to get to.
Yeah, it looks so Matt from Go Read Books is talking about it, and he just like he's got kids like I do and a wife, and like he's got the whole deal going on, and he still reads books at a pace that I don't even know if I'll ever get to.
Yeah.
But like we got the book about the same time, and I haven't read the first word, and he's finishing it up, or he finished it today, I think.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
bro,
I know that feeling. I've done, buddy reads with Andrew from Wizardly Reads,
mhm.
and, like, we'll start it the same day, and he'll finish it within 2 days, and I'm still on, like, the 1st chapter.
That's like, what's your secret, man? Are you like? Are
Yeah.
you a speed reader? Because that's a thing, guys. That's a real thing.
Yeah, I've asked him before, and I think he just dedicates quite a bit of time to reading in a
Yeah.
day, so he has, like, his certain amount of time that he'll read, and he'll utilize different formats as well.
Yeah, he does, and I also think it like matters the age of your kids too. Like I have a
Mm.
4, a 3, a 1, and a newborn.
Yeah.
So it's like my days if they're all home, which we have a babysitter, and we also have
Mm.
my oldest is in school, my second oldest is about to start school.
Yeah.
So it's not every single day that they're all home at once, but like today they were, and me and
Yeah.
my wife are like looking at each other and like, what's going on? Like
Yep.
this is chaos.
Yeah, we have a two-year-old, and, he's just getting out of the nap. We're losing
Oh,
the nap. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, the 2 hours that I had
Yeah.
is
Now,
gone."
was he like the type now my youngest boy, so my 1-year-old is still he'll take naps. But yeah,
Mhm.
they come out of that stage. Was he willing to, or he or she, I'm sorry, willing
Yeah.
to take a nap?
So we've been starting it depends. Normally, he's like, "Yeah, I need a nap.
Mm.
I'm tired. I need a nap." But, he's gotten to the point now where he's like, "I'm awake. I'm
Yeah.
awake. Let me out."
Yes.
So he's gotten to that stage, which, I mean, it's all part of growth and growing up,
Mm.
but
It's
man, I
beautiful.
miss those 2 hours.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was like my 1-year-old who is still kind of taking naps, but I fear I'm looking forward to it, but I fear those days of like because he's very, very enthusiastic about his sleep at the moment.
Yeah,
But my two prior to him are definitely out of that stage, and they're like
yeah.
naps. Nope. What the heck are
Yep.
you talking about?
We don't nap, we have too much energy.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael, 100%. I've always said if I could have 10% of my son's energy level, I would be golden.
Yeah. 100%.
Uh, so, with how I wanna ask ask because 'cause I'm always curious with the booktube journey,
Mhm.
how it goes for people, if there was, like, learning curves. Did you start out the way you thought you would? Are you at the place you thought you would be by now? How's it been going? Because your channel, it seems like it's been professional the entire time with the setup you've got, the green screen, it's
Mm.
incredible.
So I did like the I definitely have my stepping stones for sure. Like I think my first 10-ish, like it's still behind me. I put
Yeah.
the green screen in there to look more professional now, but it's like I got a deep freezer back there that people are well aware of. And it's yeah.
Awesome.
So I did a few. I know JCM Burn is in that group.
Mm.
He saw my deep freezer. Casey Sutton, um, Gaurav Mahanti. So yeah, one of those things like I watched a little bit of YouTube, like not regularly at all before I got into BookTube and then did my own thing. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, you have this idea of what you want to do, and it's like you
Mm.
start uploading videos. I've changed locations in my house. I just remember being so frustrated with the lack of books in my background. I just remember talking to my wife. I'm like, I'm so like, I don't know. Like, I want to be like mediocrity, and this is not an option for me. I don't want it to ever be a part of what I'm doing. Um, uh, I was sick for a long time before I did this, and then I was coming out of that, so I started this channel, and
Right.
I'm still doing very well.
Good.
And yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Like I said, so there's a starting point, and then it's just natural. You have to have that starting point,
Oh,
and
for sure.
always in your mind, you're like, I want to be that guy or that girl that doesn't have to have that starting point, but it's just natural. You have to
Yeah.
have a starting point. You have to have time to evolve as a person. You have to have your own voice. So yeah, I'm still working on things. My thumbnails. I just recently changed up my thumbnails and my
Mm.
titles for my book, just based on actually Jed Hearn. I just talked to him about his Kickstarter on the channel a couple days ago, and
Nice.
he stuck around for a little bit. He's like, "Hey, if you got a couple minutes," which is like 10 a.m. for him, and it was like midnight for me. So I was like, "I got a
Oh
couple," you
gosh.
know. But
Yeah.
during that couple, like if you know Jed, he's very enthusiastic. He's very willing to help, and he did.
Yeah.
He's like, he looked over my page and was like, "Look, this is what you're doing, and this is where I saw
Mhm.
myself at as well, and this is what I changed. And look, if you know anything about his channel, he's very successful at what he's doing." So yeah, thumbnails are getting changed up, titles, and yeah, I'm kind of going where this thing leads me.
I love it. I love it. I love the go with the flow, like, grow as you will
Mhm.
mindset because it's so important. You hear stories of people who go in with the mindset of, "Oh, I'm gonna get this many subscribers, I'm gonna make this amount of money," and honestly, you can't go in with that mentality.
Nope.
It does not work like that.
You have to be willing to know that your first videos, like I just like hit 120 videos,
Mm,
like
that's awesome.
you have to like there's no personal growth without like growing. You just have to find where you're at and then grow from there. There's no documentation of where you're beginning without that beginning spot.
Absolutely. And I love EL's comment here. Authenticity is the key. Just like toddlers, we can smell a fake a mile away.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I remember my first videos, and you don't have to suffer, don't go back and look for them, but they were, so the reason why my channel is called Hidden Shelf is
Mm.
because I have a tiny little shelf in a closet, just in this room, it's out in the back, but yeah, I started my channel sitting on the floor, with the doors open to the closet and just recording with a really crummy little lapel mic, and the audio was terrible, the
No.
lighting was horrible. Oh, yeah, like, I'm sitting in the you could see, like, stuff piled on the walls, right? Tried to get them out of the shop, but
It's
that's
the
where it
biggest learning
started.
curve.
Absolutely, and it
Like,
I started it for fun, I'm still doing it for fun.
yeah, and let me just say, yours is one of the best bookshelves out there. So I mean, I kept meaning to
Thank
ask you,
you.
um,
Yeah.
your Steven Erickson's Gardens of the Moon edition, right behind you to your right,
Mhm.
is gorgeous. Like, what is that edition? I can't find it.
That in all honesty, I bought the Malazan's, books. Every book that I have so far of that series, I bought about 10 years ago. And
Wow.
because I planned to start the series back then, and I just got so intimidated. And I
Yeah.
didn't know anyone who had read them, who was willing to read them. So reading it on my own, I was like, I can't.
Mhm.
And so I waited until I found a community. I found people who were reading it, and this community was just amazing. So that's where I delved into it this year. But that edition was actually from the bargain section of our Indigo. Our
Wow.
Yeah, I got it for like $8, I think, at the time.
Oh, it's I've literally never I may
Yeah.
not be searching hard enough, but I have not found the oval, like, picture frame looking, is that a hardcover?
It is a hardcover. Yeah, this one's the hardcover, but I think it might be on the paperbacks too. I think it depends on where you're looking, but, I'll see if I can find it,
Yeah,
for you
send that link to
because
me.
yeah, it's beautiful.
It
But
is.
yeah,
It's
def
gorgeous.
those books are very old. They've got some dust on them.
Another thing too, like, people in the chat or people watching this right now,
Mhm.
it's like, depending on where you live, there are editions released there in that location that may not be released, if you're in the US, the
Yes.
UK editions. I mean, you're able to buy them and have them shipped, but they may not be available to you locally or just naturally through your, like, search.
Yeah.
But if you look for them and you look for all the editions of a book, you can find them.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim, yeah, 100%. I've seen this too. Yeah, it's like that with books as well. Everyone goes in hoping for a breakout wonder. Not how it usually goes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all a process.
It is.
Yeah. Belltube, if you haven't already, go check out his channel too. New booktuber on the platform. Fantastic videos so far. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, I told him earlier, I was texting him or messaging him on Twitter, and I was like, he was like, man, I just kind of wanted to pop in here and do something a little different. I wanted to be professional. I was like, do you understand how long it took me to get to 100 followers, my guy?
Yes.
And you've got like 4 videos out or 5, 6 videos out. It's like, this guy's pushed 300. I said, you've brought some game with you.
Absolutely. It's amazing now with whenever I find a new booktuber, I see everyone come in, they're like, "Subscribe, support, watch all the
Mhm.
videos."
He's doing something
Yeah.
fun too. He kind of brings like a different hat to every video, or like these like different, like, I'm gonna leave you with this kind of message at the end. It's really
Yeah,
cool, man. He's brought some difference in the community. I like it. I like it a lot.
absolutely, and yeah, oh, best voice in the showbiz. Oh, thank you, and Ed, sorry, the reason I noticed that was Ed followed up with best voice in quotations. Petition to have Kay narrate all this stuff. You know what? Potentially, we'll
There you
see.
go. That would be cool. Yeah. Would you be open if like an author reached out to you, say, "Hey, would you narrate my book?" Would you be down for that?
Yeah, you know what? I've been exploring the idea. I definitely, because I've talked about it a little bit on the channel before, because I interviewed Kevin Kemp, who's an
Yeah.
audiobook narrator for Chiago's and several other fantasy books. And, uh, to kind of just see if anything was there, right? Because I don't know if you find this or anyone else does, but I'm like, is it just me? Because when I started this channel, my voice being the appealing part was not the thing I thought would catch people's attention, not at
Yeah.
all. Like everyone else, I don't like my voice.
No, it's so I think that you have a wonderful voice, but I think that you're also like everybody else. It's like when I hear my voice,
Mm,
at least, I'm like, "Oh, turn that up." My kids will watch me on YouTube on the
yeah,
TV. I'm like, "You
no,
better turn that off, son."
no. Same. So Kevin actually offers 1 hour free coaching, or he did at the time. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was at the time. So I was like, just to see if anything's here, let's chat with him. So we
Yeah.
sat down, we chatted, we went through some stuff, and it definitely gave me a lot to think about, a lot to work on because I did vocal training a long time ago.
Mhm.
I can't sing for the life of anything anymore. Um, that's why training is so important. But it reminded me I need to be a lot more mindful about how I speak and how I use those muscles because talking for let put it in perspective, talking for 40 hours a week, you're going to burn your voice out, damage your vocal cords if you're not taking care of them properly. So
Yeah.
that's the part that I'm really wanting to make sure of, as well as a proper place to record it because it's a whole other setup.
I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up now. The guy that's doing Jacqueline Hagen's books, he does such a
Wayne
perfect.
Farrell.
Yes, him.
Yes.
I was like 3 in the morning. My newborn was up. My wife was feeding her, and I just woke up and we couldn't get back to sleep because she was up for a while. And I started listening to the audiobook again, and I was like, I have to message him because he is
Mm,
inspiring me. His voice for this type of like Victorian London type of feel. Oh
yeah.
yes,
Sold me right away, and actually, I'm gonna be interviewing him on the channel as well. I'm so excited. He's
that's
working on book
awesome.
3 of, The Blue Flames. He's working
Blue
on The
Flames.
Blue Flames right
Second
now.
one's a spider key.
Yes.
Well, look at
So
that fatty. I didn't know it was so big.
oh, it's a
That's a
chunker.
chonker.
It's a chunker, but it's gonna be so good. I already know.
Yeah,
So I'm
I'm
looking forward to
obsessed.
that. Yeah.
I'm. What is it? Where?
I I binged the first, 2 books in, like, a week.
It's like an average size fantasy novel, right? So
Yeah.
I'm so excited to know that there's some chunkers coming out.
Oh, there's chunkers, yeah.
Nice. And I think she said, correct me if I'm wrong, Jacqueline, 6 or 7 in
Yes.
the Riverfall Chronicles. So excited.
Yeah. Oh, and, Daniel's comment here, I got the main 10 Malazan books for about 60 bucks, maybe, from Abe Books. They're all mismatched and everything. Same, mine are all mismatched, don't
Mhm.
care.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. It's one of those things like when I started BookTube, it was like thriving the Malazan
Mm.
series. And that's really like, I told my wife, I said, I'm about, did my video go off?
No, no, you're good.
Oh, good, good, good. So when I started the Malazan or getting interested in the Malazan series, it was because I fell into this booktube um, space. Like I binged booktube for so long, and then all of a sudden I had to pick it up. And I only have the first one, but I see so many different variations. Like for that series, or series where I just don't really care. Like
Yeah.
that's definitely one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, to me, one of the it's just one of those series that is so big, it's so popular, and the story itself is so dense that the
Mhm.
format no longer it doesn't matter to me anymore. The
Sure,
format doesn't matter for that reason. I care so much about the story that I will read it if it's like I've got some pretty messed up copies that are they've been through the ringer.
sure, yeah.
And Michael, completely agree. I
There we go.
just had that happen to me. I pre-ordered Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree, and I
Oh
thought it
yeah,
was gonna just be the regular edition, and it arrived with the Indigo exclusive edition, which people are gonna love that, but it had the deckled edges, and I
what
can't
does that
stand them.
mean? What is deckled?
I don't even own it, so basically deckled is like they're ripped and mismatched edging.
Oh wow, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I just the feeling of it, flipping through it, couldn't stand it, so I completely understand where you're coming from.
Have you heard of this author? This is an author I got a hold of when I first started my booktube channel, and I haven't been able to. I've reached out a couple times, but her name is. I bring this up for a reason. Her name is Sarah Wilson, or
I've seen
Sarah,
that.
Sarah K.L. Wilson, and
Yeah,
I hope to have her on my channel one day. She was the one of the very first people to send me this.
that's
It
awesome.
the naked hardback is just
Oh,
gorgeous,
wow.
and I don't know. I was just curious as your personal experience. So you have seen
Mm.
that?
I've seen her on, Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I have seen her on there, but, I've seen her book come up, and I just, I don't know a lot about it. I don't know what the story is, so I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I can't wait to kind of like get into it. It's I don't know if it's like YA or like
Mm.
NA, maybe like an NA book, but it's yeah, it's beautiful. It's well done. And I think she deserves for people to like shout out about the wonderful work she's put into her books.
Absolutely. It's amazing how so one of the things that impresses me with with indie authors and how they do their books is they put in so much effort into the look, the feel of it, and you can't find that a lot of the time in trad books. Like
Oh,
this is Hills of Heather and Bone by
ooh, I've
K.E.
heard
Andrews.
so much good stuff about that.
It's so good. But like this is the hardcover edition
Ooh.
that was released recently.
Now that person. It's a she, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, she's a finalist in SVFBO, right?
I think so, yes,
Yeah.
and so she went out and got illustrations done for this, like, of the characters. Every chapter starts with imagery of a flower, like, it's so thematic.
Wow.
It's incredible, and so I'll just show you, like, even the map, she did full color in this hardcover.
So Fantasy Faction, yeah, chose her as their finalist.
Oh, nice,
Yep.
nice.
Wow,
I'm
it's
terrible at keeping up with news.
me. No, me too.
Yeah.
So I had to double check, and yeah, it's so gorgeous.
So this each chapter starts off with the flower, the name of the flower, and I don't know if you can see that, but it has like the themes that
Yep.
match the chapter.
Yes, I
And
do.
the themes are based on the properties believed to be associated with the herbs or the flowers, I think.
Wow.
So a lot of thought and care went into that, right?
So as an author, if you're that author, how do you get that out there? Like, how do you give these people that like you go on Twitter and talk about your book? Like, how do you fit all that in?
I I have no idea. I need to ask people. I should ask Katie, the author of
Yeah.
that one, because it's incredible. She puts so much attention to detail into it, and hail the lore. Absolutely, thank you. I'm so glad you found some awesome books.
Beard and kids. Oh, lovely. That's wonderful.
So, question thrown back to you: when are you doing audio?
So I've had a couple authors tell me that I would be a good voice, and I didn't expect that at all. Probably similar to your
Mm.
experience. Like you never expect somebody to tell you that. So I probably annoy the piss out of my wife with it, but I'm like, how does this sound? But no, I would totally, yeah, I would be very into it. I would be into not only doing it, but like learning the best way to do it, or like
Mm.
taking classes, as you said, Kevin, what is it, Kemp?
Kevin Kemp. Yeah,
Yeah, coaching, that type thing. I think that would be one of the coolest things ever.
do it.
I think that would be
Absolutely.
so cool.
Do it. Kevin is such a great guy. The best way I can describe my experience with the coaching session with him is I grew up doing music lessons. I still do music lessons,
Hmm.
and you can always tell a good teacher from a bad one. I
Okay.
hate to say it that way, but you can. The bad teachers are the ones who are like, "Do this as I told you, and do not stray."
Oh,
Right? And with music, there's something called musicianship. You want to make something emotional. You want to put your own little bits into it, and you
mhm,
want to learn your own unique way, right? That's the best way someone can learn. And a good teacher knows that. A good teacher will
sure.
say, okay, this method to learn it didn't work. We're going to try this one,
So
right?
it's not, it's like there's a teacher telling you this is the only way to do it. And you're like, and then
Yeah,
there's a teacher saying your way of doing things is going to be different from John's way of doing things.
but we're still gonna work together to figure it out so you can
Love
reach
it.
your goal,
Love
right?
it.
That's Kevin. Kevin is amazing with
I
that.
love that. That's a
Yeah.
huge shout out. Good job, Kevin. I can't wait to talk with
Yeah.
you.
And yes, 6 or 7, says Jackie.
There it is. That's exciting.
Yeah, matching set of Malazan takes up an entire shelf. Is it hardcover, trade paperback?
All I know is that I hope I'm part of the Broken Binding when they start doing like Felix Ortiz,
Oh,
the Malazan. I can just
yeah.
imagine that. I'm gonna email them and just bug them because that's like, please, please.
Yeah. I'm torn. I'm like, "Do I love my wallet or do I do I
Yeah,
chip in?" Right?
right.
Because it's expensive shipping all of it. It adds up to be a lot.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah,
and the way I think of it too, I'm like, I'm sure there's a Malazan fan out there who would love it way more than me,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, what do I do? Do I cave?
So what is it gonna be one of those things where like so you have the tier one, which is like the
Mm,
numbered or lettered editions where like it's signed and there's only so many of the signed ones
yeah.
available. And then there's tier two, which I don't care which tier I'm
Mm.
available to sign up for. I'm signing up today if they ask me. But
Absolutely.
it's like with the Malazan, I'm not quite, maybe is it going to be a part of the
Mm.
subscription or is it going to be part of like what they offer to the general public?
I think it's a general sale.
Okay,
However, depending on how they do it, because sometimes what they do, if it is a general sale, they will do a early pre-sale for subscribers.
sure.
So they'll pre or subscribers might get in a little early to make their order, but usually I think for that it's going to be just open to the public.
That's awesome.
So first come, first serve, put your timer on.
Yeah, oh, I will. 100%.
So Charlie here, you need to buy the Malazan series again. I've had them all. Yeah, moved
Move
countries
countries twice.
twice. Wow, had to leave the original copies behind. That's huge life changes right
I did.
there.
I didn't know Charlie. I love Charlie. He's such a good reviewer for Fanfi Addicts, and I'm so cool. I didn't mean to say that. I'm not so cool. I think it's so cool to be a part of Fanfi Addicts along with him and see all the good people doing these incredible reviews. But I would like to know where you moved from. I didn't know that you were a man of different countries. So that's really cool, man.
Ed here as well. Weirdest thing is when you order a bunch of author copies and some show up printed on the flimsiest paper, whilst others could sail a damn man on war with the paper they use. Yeah.
Oh, here it is. I gotta grab one. So I've got an opera copy that one of the guys that I'm doing the four beardsmen of the book Apocalypse, David T. List. So I got
Yeah.
a hold of him in the time where he was ordering his author proofs. And
Okay.
what he did, instead of like sending me like an ebook or whatever, he's like, I'll send you what I'm gonna get, an author proof. He's like, I'll order two of them. And mine showed up before his. He was
The
so
irony.
salty. He was he was like, "Bro, what the hell, man? Like, take pictures. I can't wait to see it." It's a jonker.
Oh, nice. Chunkers are nice though.
But like everything's different, like the whole
Mhm.
background and everything's so but I felt kind of bad. I was like, "Oh my goodness, mine's arrived today. How do you like yours?" It was like, "No."
I think that happened to me once as well. It wasn't an author copy, but I think it was Tiago Abdallah. If I'm remembering this wrong, Tiago, and you're watching it back, please correct me. But I remember having my copy and messaging him, and he's like, oh, I don't know yeah, I don't even have mine yet.
Oh wow. Well, he lives in
Yeah,
Brazil, so
he does. So it was a lot
yeah,
trickier, took
yeah.
longer.
He's probably one of my top three interviews. He was just
Yeah.
such a cool and like self-aware, like he doesn't care what anybody thinks, like he has his
Oh, yeah.
and very solid foundation about him.
Mm. Oh, definitely. He's got a lot of knowledge. So his method is to fully focus on writing and learning writing. So I know he's talked about before where when he decided he was going to write, he just read crafting material. That's all he did in his spare time was he read books on writing, how to craft story and all of it, and then he just dedicated all of his time to writing.
when I start
So
my novel, which I'm really close, that's one that I'll go back and like listen to because he's like, those of you, which that's me. I've tried to like
yeah,
think of fantasy names and like names for locations on a map that I'm going to create, which I actually found out how I'm going to make my map, by the way. 1 second, I'll talk
nice.
about that.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. I wanna hear more about your writing, so this is great.
so he's like, mash your keyboard. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, just mash the shit out of it. Like, just
Really?
boom, just hit the keys and see what it comes up with. I was like, that's brilliant. Like, just see what comes up. Just see what the
Yeah,
letter and like replace a couple letters, do this and that. And he's
yeah,
like, that's a good way to do it. And I said, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that.
that's
So
awesome.
and the way that I think
Mm,
I'll do my map is one that I saw on Instagram from a cartographer. I don't remember the name. What she did, it was a female. She took rice
yes, I've
and
seen that.
yeah, she just like drops it and like traces around it and
Mhm.
just like this like un like plannable, unforeseen
Yeah,
shapes and sizes of these countries that could potentially be in your map, and just like
yeah,
trace around them,
yeah,
uh, and it just ended up so perfect.
yep. Yeah, it simplest things, like, one I've heard for the names is, put a spoonful of peanut butter in your mouth and then try and say average names like Brittany, Joseph, or
Oh
anything like
wow,
that, and just see what comes out, how it sounds, and then try and match the spelling.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to do like I learned my ancestry a few years back. So my mother and father were born in Grayling, Michigan.
Okay.
Um, and I traced my ancestry, and my dad's came from directly from Denmark. Definitely have some Viking blood. Um,
Nice.
so they went from Denmark to Grayling, Michigan, where they stay. The Sorensen,
Mhm.
that's my last name, Sorensen,
Okay.
and that's where they all still are. So it wasn't
Yeah.
hard to find. So I'm really excited. I love God of War, the video game,
Yeah.
and I really want to kind of like have that feel in my novel, really Norse.
Mm.
Um, I love it. Vikings very like a vague terminology,
Yeah.
very Norse feel
Mm.
to it, mythology based. Of
Nice.
course, a fantasy, not exactly historic, but that's kind of the feel I'm going to go for.
I love it. So have you read John Gwynne then?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course. He
Love
was
it.
other than J.M. Miro, like I talked about earlier,
Yeah.
Shadow of the Gods was like,
Yes.
very foundational for me. I'm in
Yep.
Hunger of the Gods. I went through like I haven't finished it yet, but I think I went through like the first 16 chapters in like 2
Oh,
nights.
okay.
And
Yeah.
he's one guy that if I ever get him on my channel to talk, like I've made it.
Yeah.
He's like my tier two. Like my first I've made it was Ryan Cahill. I've talked to him.
That's amazing.
So now I have to like John Gwynn's the next one.
Well, I mean, I you never know. Reach out, right?
Yeah.
His sons have their own channel too, so
Mhm.
I've seen them
Brothers
do
Gwynn.
collabs. Yeah, they've done collabs with, Theo from, Rekindled Reader,
Yep.
and, like, it's just
Philip
amazing
Chase.
how yep, how active they are. It's incredible. But yes, I loved, Shadow and Hunger of the Gods. I'm
This
so excited for book 3. I'm
do
anxiously
you think he'll
waiting.
come? Do you think it will?
I
I
what's that, sorry?
so I feel like I hope it comes. I hope to
Yes,
finish
yeah,
that. From what I understand, he had like his daughter
yeah,
passed. Uh,
yeah.
gosh, rest her soul, and all my
Absolutely.
loves and prayers goes to his family for that.
Yeah.
I hope that one day he does finish that in her name.
Mhm.
I think that's amazing work he does. I think he's one of the best authors ever. So I'm just looking
Yeah.
forward to anything else he puts out.
Agreed, and absolutely, like, take his time with it, but I'm still
Yeah,
sitting here anxious.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So we've got Charlie went from Australia to the UK and then back to Australia, left
Okay,
Oz as an 18-year-old and came back married with 1 kid.
nice, man.
And 1 on the way, congrats.
Good. Yes, congrats, man. Get ready because it's double the work, brother.
Yeah, and, oh, that's we're one and done.
So we have four, and we're still like, what the hell are we doing? We found a Facebook post, me and my wife, like right before we had our fourth child, and it was of our second child. She was like 39 weeks, and it was like,
Okay.
I'm so excited to have our second and last child, and I'm like, what? Like we weren't done, and in fact, we doubled that.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've met parents with 4, and I'm like, "I don't know how you do it."
There's no
No
easy way.
idea.
This
Oh,
you get through it, and then
I
and
I
then
can't imagine.
Thanksgivings are never lonely again.
You know what? That is the beautiful thing of it, though.
Yeah.
That is the beautiful thing. EL, when a teacher is inflexible, it reflects their ability, not yours. Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah.
And John is here. John just released his book. Definitely go check it out. I'm
The
blanking
Black
on the
Crown,
title. Black Crown. Thank you. I knew it had crown in it.
my guy.
Definitely go check that
Iron
out.
Age. Hail the Iron Age.
First one was at university. Okay. All right. It was a while ago.
Okay, yeah. So
First one
you
was at university.
changed locations because of university. That makes sense. Now, what they call university just depends on where you're talking to or talking about. Like, for instance, I believe I was talking to somebody in the UK where they call university high school.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
for those in the US, now Canada, I'm sure it's similar. Do you have like elementary, middle, and high school?
So yeah, we've got elementary, we've got middle school, high school. The way we track the high school years is a little different. We don't call it sophomore or anything like that.
Hmm.
But we've got college and university after as well.
Yep, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys have it there, but what we have is in college, we have 2 streams typically. So you'll have an applied and an academic. And
Nope.
if you take the applied stream in high school, you'll end up in the college level, right?
Okay.
And if you take academic, you're streamlined for university.
Oh, wow. Nope. Those are two different things there. They're the same thing here. So, like
Oh,
after high
okay.
school, so after 12th grade, you go to college or university.
Yes.
It's the same thing here.
Yeah. So I think the tricky part here is that you can take applied for the college stream and still try to apply to university. It's just going to be a lot harder because your coursework isn't going to match what their pre requirements are.
Now, I think we cover that in high school because I remember, of course, I wasn't a
Yeah.
part of this because I showed no effort in high school. There was AP courses, so I don't remember what that stands for, like applied something or
Yeah.
another. But like, yeah, you had regular math and then you had AP math. They got you
Okay.
ready for like the higher college math.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's different everywhere.
It is. It's so cool,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, it is. Even provinces here. So I'm in Ontario, and in Ontario, it was actually right before I ended up going into high school. They had up to grade 13,
Oh wow.
and they got rid of grade 13 right before we went into grade 9.
Oh
And
wow.
then in Quebec, they skip a middle school year. I think it's grade 7. They skip it entirely and go right to 8. So it's 6 and 8.
Oh
And then they
wow.
just keep going. It's a really weird
By the
system.
way, us in the US, we have it totally wrong. You said Quebec, we say Quebec. We
I
say
mean, you
Quebec.
can, tomato, tomato.
Yeah, sure. So I'll call it Quebec from now on.
Yeah, it's, a Quebec or, I mean, there's lots of different ways, you can say it, but Quebec is typically the one. Um, and then, like, if you're talking about Quebec people or Quebec things, it's like Québécois.
Quebecois. So
Québécois.
so when you say Quebecois, what does that refer to? Like
So, like, it's hard. Sorry, it's like I grew up with half my family in Quebec, so it's
mhm.
just the way it is. It's, never really had to think about it, jeez. So, if you think of like, oh, that saying, it's very Quebecois,
Oh, a
right?
Quebecois.
It's
So
it's
S.
like yeah, it's like Quebec-esque, right?
I got
Quebecois.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome.
Tim, you are my buddy. We're half French Canadian.
She's like, somebody pull through for me.
Yeah. It's funny, I'm half French, barely speak it.
Hmm.
That's how it goes.
I have no clue. I speak some Spanish and
Okay,
French was like offered.
okay.
I was like, I can't make those sounds.
Yeah, it's hard.
It
It is
is.
hard to learn another language. I studied French at college for 4 years, and I can order a coffee, I can ask for the washroom, I can do the basics, and maybe, like, get through an introduction,
I
right?
had my Spanish teacher, and then across the room was the French teacher who could also speak Spanish. So I
Okay.
was taking Spanish. Mrs. Luque, she had her French teacher across the room, and they would come over, and she would speak in Spanish, and
Mm,
then whoever the French teacher was, I can't remember her name, would speak in French in the same dialogue back and forth,
yeah.
and the students are just like, "What the hell is going on?"
They're sister languages
They
along
are.
that
They're
line,
very
yeah.
similar.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm just catching up on the chats here, hold on. So we have homeschooled homeschooled, that must have been quite the experience. I always think it's different because I was in the public system, but,
Me too.
I can imagine it being a lot more peaceful without all the social dynamic. Um, far from bilingual. You know what? Quebec is right across the bridge from us, Tim. We should be better.
Across the bridge. There's some local talk for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's separated here by a river. So
Okay.
to get to Quebec from where we are, we have to go across one of the bridges, and there's so many jokes because the
Oh.
roads in Quebec are so poorly maintained. So it's like the joke is, when you're, coming to Ontario, you go from that, like, bumpy road to a smooth experience into Ontario, but when you're coming from Ontario, you go into from the smooth to, like, the rocky road and
It's like I
break an
knew I
axle or
was there
something.
when the roads were a little bit bumpier.
Yeah, exactly. I've avoided roads entirely because they're just so pitted with potholes.
Now in Canada, do you take trains a lot? Like I talk to people in the UK and they're like, "Oh, I take trains a lot." And I'm like, "I've never been on a train, not once."
I've been on a train once in my life. We
Okay.
do have the Via Rail system here. I don't particularly use it that much. I would rather fly just for time's sake because
Mhm.
traveling in Canada is ridiculous.
Okay.
To go visit, like, family in Newfoundland, it would be, let's say, approximately a 40-hour drive plus
Oh my
ferries.
gosh. That's like from
So,
here. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. That would be
yeah.
well past California for
Yeah,
me.
and ferries vary on their time because of the weather conditions, so 6 to 12 hours, it's just crazy.
I can make it
So
to Alaska before 40 hours. And I'm like I said, I'm on the
yeah,
eastern I'm in Ohio.
yeah, it's insane, so I would much rather fly personally,
Yeah, I don't
um,
blame you.
but if I was to go somewhere like the next city over and I didn't wanna drive in the city, I could Uber, definitely I'd take the train then.
Oh, wonderful. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's, oh, Tim here. I lived in Quebec City for 4 months and Montreal for a year, and I managed, but it's basically all gone now. Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally new to me. That's so cool. And we're so close. Like we're part of the same continent, guys. The US
Yeah,
and Canada and as well as South America. But it's all
yeah.
so different.
We're your northern neighbor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, different drinking age too in Quebec. Provinces all have different drinking
Oh wow, it's all
rules and
difference
stuff.
between based on provinces. Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, 19 in Ontario, 18 in Quebec, I think it is.
I think it's still 21 here in the US, like as a
Yeah,
whole.
I think
Which
so.
it's like if me personally, like if you're gonna send my 18-year-old off to war, like I don't understand the fact that they want a Bud Light. It doesn't bug me.
Yeah. Yeah, hunker down, we're gonna get you a Bud Lighter.
Exactly.
And yeah, imagine being new to booktube. You'd roll in here expecting book stuff. Next, mix that.
Mhm.
You're learning wacky facts about Canadian stuff. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing. It's part of it, guys. We're all human, and this is a part of. I mean, it's a part of literature. It's a part of everyday living. It's one of the coolest parts. In fact, I think.
Well, it's like talking about let's mix the two then.
Hmm.
Today I went out to Indigo with my family, and who do I run into but Crystal Matar?
No
Because she's also
way.
local and she shops at the same place I do. I've met her before, we've had coffee before, but it was so surreal running into her just
That's so
randomly.
cool.
It was so awesome. Yeah, she's the sweetest, and for those who don't know, I'm gonna try and grab the book just a second.
Yeah. It's actually on the way to me in the mail right now. I was like, my mailman, I think, stole it. She's like, no, 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 it's on the way.
Yeah, so Legacy of a Bright Wash
There it
is,
is.
Crystal's first book.
I hear it's so good. It's like one of the
I
only fantasy romance because it's like a grimdark fantasy, right?
Yes, and the only reason I haven't started it yet is I'm not sure I'm ready to be destroyed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally enticed.
Yeah, so yeah, John, it's so weird when you meet your online friends in real life. Definitely
That's
is.
an experience that I haven't experienced yet. I haven't met anybody. I'm very new, guys. Like 5, 6 months in here, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Somebody, like I said, I have connections. I'm just waiting for them to be like, "Hey, I'm coming through Ohio."
Yeah.
I'm hoping he was up in the chat. Nick Horvath. He's Sledge versus a Labyrinth. Oh my gosh, guys! If you like a punchy noir criminal mystery like not detective, but like Max Payne feeling in your face, grab you by the throat
Okay.
prose. It's so good. It's so I got through it faster than most books I get through. It's so good.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's amazing. And he's from Minnesota. Originally, he played professional
Okay.
basketball in New Zealand for a long time. He's huge. He's 6'10".
Oh,
I'm
wow.
6'5", so I'd still have to look up to this guy. And yeah, he lives in New Zealand still. Released this book not too long ago, like less than a month ago. And EC Greaves is he's actually on the cover. EC Greaves is.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's such a good book.
Okay, I can't find the comment, so I apologize all, but I'm gonna write that down.
Sledge versus the Labyrinth.
And yes, it is a chunker of a
Which
book,
one is
and
that? Oh,
this
I
is
didn't
the
realize how
yeah,
big that was.
book 2 is bigger.
Wow, I
Book
love
I
that.
mean, yeah, book 2 is bigger, so it's a chunker as well, and there's an audiobook.
Nice.
So, I am curious, do you have a preference of format when you're reading?
It depends. Like there's some hardcovers that are just like top notch, and then there's also some, I guess you'd call them trade paperbacks that are
Mm,
amazing. Now, one format that I can't find myself to really love, but I will read are like the mass paperbacks. They're
right.
very small. I have large hands, so like they're very hard for me to grasp. And I think
Yeah,
even people
okay.
with like normal size hands are just really small. And
Well,
it's not
yeah,
grand. It's not grandiose.
no. And the font is really small, so you're squinting.
Yeah. And I don't have terrible eyes either, and I still don't like the mass paperback. So, for
Yeah.
instance, like the blade itself, it's really far over there, so I'll grab it. Like the American trade paperback of the blade itself is perfect.
Okay,
Or let's
nice.
see here, okay, here's another one. I showed it up earlier. I can't find it now, but "We Are the Dead" by Mike Shackle. It's perfect.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
But this hardcover of "The Blood of the Spear" is just it's top notch.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's top notch. What about you? What would you prefer if you had to say, "Hey, author, okay, send me
Mm.
an arc or a review copy"? What would you have your preference be?
So I typically leave the preference up to them just because of costs,
Yeah.
but, um, I gotta find these kind of
Yes.
paperbacks that are
Mm.
just beautifully floppy,
Yes, exactly. The
you
ones that
know?
you can, like, hold with one hand on the spine and it stay open.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I think actually book 2 is a better
There you go.
example of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that beautiful because I'm quite smaller. I'm like 5'2".
Mhm.
So I have tiny little hands, tiny little body. So I need help when I'm holding up books. I actually prop a pillow on my lap and just set the books down on the
Yeah.
pillow, just because it's more comfortable for me. But yeah, I love anytime there's a flop, I'm gonna
Mhm.
show that off.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. I totally agree with you. And then it's like, oftentimes, like I love the exact. I would probably say my most preferred if I'm reading it and reviewing it, that the trade
Mm,
paperbacks, the floppy ones. Now,
yeah.
if it's one that I'm like, I want to keep that on my shelf forever, it's going to be the hardback.
Yeah, the hardcovers are for, like, display, reading very carefully, but
Hmm.
they're not as comfortable,
Yeah,
right? When you're
exactly.
really getting cozy.
100%.
Uh, oh, wait, hold on, I have to go back to the main comment here. Hail. Women like like books that feel like it's grabbing them by the throat. I mean, emotionally, authors destroy me. Will I
Yeah.
be ready for it? I'll say yes, but no.
Yep.
So yeah, it's I actually want to go back. Can you tell us more about your writing? How did that start? What dive
Uh,
into it.
so yeah, so like I haven't done a lot of writing myself. In fact, E.L. Montague, I'm sure he's still in here listening. He has thoroughly kept me enthusiastic and kind of like encouraged me more and more every day to keep writing. Between doing my YouTube channel and having children and stuff like that, I don't get as much done obviously as I want to or
Mhm.
I will in the future because writing is something that I will do and I will finish a novel. But what I'm working towards right now is submitting a story, which E.L. Montague has some fantastic story. He's very good with dialogue. Uh, he's a very dark writer, dark fantasy. I love that. He sends me stories all the time. I don't read them as soon as I wished I would, um,
Mm,
just because of previous promises and stuff like that. But
yeah.
he is, yeah, he's very impressive in what he's doing. But at the same time, he's encouraging me. So we're both going to some. We're kind of keeping each other on track as far as the Writers of the Future contest, um,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
Writers of the Future contest is if I'm right, I think I'm right because he told me this, I believe. Um, Patrick Rothfuss was a part of Writers of the
Okay.
Futures, and it's judged by Ender's Game author
Oh,
Orson Scott Card.
yes.
And a
Yeah.
couple other guys. They do it quarterly, so I have to submit this story. I think or the most words you can submit is 15,000. I'm hoping to budge right up against that because I want there to be a good story.
Yeah.
But when I do start really getting back into it, like it's the end of November coming up. I've slowed up my interview schedule a little bit so that I can do this. So if he's listening, I hope he's listening. I will have more to send him to read very soon. I wanted to. Me and my wife are really like enthusiastic about this idea. I want my main characters. There's a couple of them to be able to kind of like maybe not musically, yeah, musically,
Mm,
maybe not even just singing, but like this melodic enchantment, like talk to the trees, like the
okay.
fungus. I don't know if I'm giving it justice, but like there's these woods that I've called the Denmari. I've taken Denmark, where my ancestors from, and kind of changed it a little bit. There he is.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so these woods who have keep this family and this village kind of safe over the years, taking care of them through their abundance of fruit and vegetation as well as animal life.
Mm.
I know you're waiting for it, buddy. I keep pressuring me to get in there and do the damn thing. You're my guy. Thank you so much for keeping me enthusiastic. Um, so yeah, my magic system is going to be somewhat like talking with the trees through a certain method. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna. So
Mm.
I'm gonna do like a half and half, half pantsing, half outlining. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just really excited. I'm so excited. There's probably nothing on YouTube has excited me more than me actually writing, which I'm
That's
hoping that will
awesome.
continue. It's like I do this thing where I like have so many interviews scheduled that I kind of forget about it for a second, but I made sure
Mm.
that was the newness, the honeymoon stage, if you will.
Yes. Right.
about YouTube. So the next couple months, I have some really cool authors I'm going to be talking with, but more so, I'm going to be finally writing. And the reason I started my YouTube channel, and me and my wife's ideas are huge in that we share
Mm.
very similar ideas. So I'm excited to get into it. I actually really thankful you asked me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love hearing about the author journey, how it starts, how it's going, how you figure out what kind of writer you are, the story you want to tell. To me, that's all fascinating because in my mind, that is probably one of the most difficult things to do is to take those concepts and to put them into a tangible story
Yeah.
is just incredible.
So I'm well on my very greenhorn or
There you
newbie
go.
road. He writes well, just needs to get the words. Thank you, man, because
There
I've
you
said
go.
some stuff to him, and I really appreciate that. That really, it's maddening and beautiful to tell a story. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, man. He's like, dude, if the rest of the story is like this, which I've sent in the prologue, which Microsoft Word, damn you, because you deleted my whole entire prologue. I
Oh.
don't know what happened to it, but I'll rewrite it. We'll get there. Um,
Oh no.
I know, right? But it's like anymore to use Word, you have to like have this subscription. It's like
Okay.
$2 a month, and for some reason my
Mm.
card wasn't. I had the money on there, but like Rob Hayes, his Kickstarter was charged, and they deemed that fraudulent, so I had to like accept it. But at the same time, they still canceled my card, so it
Oh
messed it up.
no.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So I'll rewrite the prologue. I've got chapter one started. He had the prologue. It was so much like what I wanted to be in the prologue, and I'll get it back down, but we'll get there.
Mm.
I'm just I, I appreciate you asking me about it because it just kind of reminds me to myself how
Mm.
excited I am to continue that journey, because that's why I started a YouTube channel, is to
Yeah.
learn from these authors, to equip myself with these tools that I know I did not have.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. It's such a unique way to gain knowledge and talk about the craft in that way, and that's one of the things I love about the community is everyone is so passionate to talk about these things. And even for I don't know if you've seen it on my channel, anyone watching, I had an incredible opportunity to sit down with Chiago Abdallah, Andrew D. Meredith, Tori Tekken, and we did a little series, and we're hoping to do more in the future
Oh yes,
of
I'm looking
the
forward to that.
author indie tool belt. And we're trying to the first episode was long, be forewarned, where they just when I asked questions and as like a newbie, no concept, and they gave me some guidance too. So kudos to them. But just on the basics of writing, what and all the stages of it up to publishing and
Yeah.
advice on how to do that from their experiences, their perspectives, and then each episode after that focuses on a specific topic.
You'll have to send me the link to that video. I have not seen that video on your channel, and I'm very anxious now to see that video. I'm very anxious.
Absolutely, I'll send it your way. It's
Uh, and
yeah.
thank you, E.O. Montague, by the way. He's a very positive influence in my life.
Mhm.
He's very efficient. His job in real life is like an efficient based job, and he keeps me on my toes. And I don't really have, as far as writing goes, I don't have that. And thank you, man, for being there to do that for me.
Always have to have community. That's one of the
It
big
is.
things. Yeah, someone to have your back. Google
Thank you.
Docs is another good way to go. And I I don't know if we're the best to learn from. Most of us have no clue what we're doing, but you're doing it.
Yeah,
You're doing it
that's
and you
the
have
thing.
more experience than many who are like starting out or learning or going through it the first time.
Coming from a SPFBO 9 finalist,
Yes.
yeah, come on, man. You know what the hell you're doing. By the way, I have to shout it out. I do all the time when I talk about e-seekers. He wrote all three of his books on the train on his phone. All
What?
three books. Yeah, come on, come on,
On the
come on, e-seekers.
train?
On the train on his phone. He's got
Wow.
thumbs of impenetrable damage.
What no. That needs to be that needs to be a marketing quote if ever, Ed. You need to put that
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. He was like, I believe the story goes somewhat like this, if I remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong, EC Greaves, Ed. Um, yeah, he was on this on the train every day, kind of like to this monotonous job that he's not necessarily loving. He's
Oh,
writing on the way there and way home on his phone, and he publishes these 3 books.
that's incredible.
It is. It's like
Yeah.
some of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life.
We got another one, John. Google Docs is a godsend. I wrote half my book on my phone. It wasn't easy.
Another one.
Wow.
Good for
I
you, John.
I feel like my thumbs would give out
They would.
in chapter
Mine would.
1.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, that's amazing. So, in the writing scheme of things, do you have a broad view of what you're looking at for your book? Any particular size, or are you just writing and exploring right now?
I would say writing and exploring. I do have a
Love it.
broad view of things as far as like where I want to be at the end. Like I'm not one of those who like knows the end at the end. But
Mm,
as I'm writing, but I can't wait to like uh, uh find the end as I'm writing. Like, oh my gosh, if this
right.
happens with this character and this happens with this character. But as far as planning goes, I want to like know my characters before I write. I want to
Mm.
know the landscape and where they begin at least.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, right now, it's like one of my characters has to leave their beloved lands that have taken care of them
Mm.
to take care of this other issue. And they kind of all end up back in the same place, maybe.
Okay.
It kind of just depends. I think I'm not a pantser. I know that for sure. I've tried that. But I think
Yeah.
that I'm a good mix of both.
Okay. Yeah. I know Michael Michelle, The Price of Power is like that as
Mhm.
well. He's a bit of both. Yeah.
He's a cool dude. I like him.
He is. Yeah. Awesome book too.
I haven't
Yeah.
read it yet.
Oh, it's so good. You're gonna have a good time with it.
I can't wait.
Have any people heard of a Bluetooth keyboard?
I think so. What does that mean? Like, I mean, I know that that means that you can connect it without a wire, but I was
Mm.
talking to my wife. Tell me if you know. But like sometimes I have like I had my daughter on me earlier, who's a newborn,
Yeah.
and I wanted to speak what I wanted my keyboard to write. Is there such a thing?
Yeah, so you can do speech to text, and actually, I think that's how Michael Michelle wrote his book as well, depending on the app that you're looking at. So if you're looking at Notes, for example, if you have an iPhone like me, there's
Hmm. I
a
do.
little tiny like microphone at the bottom
Oh
there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and when you tap that, it starts listening. So you
So
can
you can
just
do
start.
that in your Word documents or Google documents.
I think so. I only have
Okay,
it in
cool.
Notes, which is like a an
Yeah.
app on the phone, but, you should be able to do it in multiple different apps.
I think
Yeah.
that that's a key part of me writing more efficiently right now.
Yeah. Just to get ideas down, right? I just read his
Hmm.
prequel novella, War Song. Yeah, I still have to read that. I've been so excited. It's just there's so many books. Tori is in the house. Hello, Tori.
Hey, Tori, Tekken in that his own. Have you read this, Tori? It's The Shepherd, a
That
short
looks
story by
familiar.
Owen Jones. Oh my goodness.
It's called
This
The
is
Shepherd?
the Shepherd. And let me just tell you, this is the first short story I ever read. And did it convince me to read short stories forever and ever? Yes, it did.
That's
It,
amazing.
and look, it's not like this super sci-fi fantasy based like he's a fantasy author and there's some kind of fantasy elements but oh my goodness, look at the cover. I mean, he just
That
looks
is gorgeous.
tired and worn. And
Yep.
then if you like the granddaughter, there's like this grandfather granddaughter love
Oh, nice.
supporting each other throughout the whole thing. It just took me it took me by the throat and in a lovely way. It was so good.
That's awesome. And Bex is giving some advice too. It can be difficult, but you have to dictate the punctuation as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I think a lot of my frustration has come from.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the worst way to do it, but if you just need to get the ideas out, you could probably just blab it and then
Yeah,
go back and do all that.
That would be like, so like just get it out while the kids are awake, or like, or
Yeah.
this and that. And then when the kids go to sleep, instead of doing an interview at night that night, kind of going through and giving the punctuation a little bit of extra attention.
Yeah, giving it some structure.
There we go.
Charlie here. Hey, those iPhones are always listening.
They are, man. It's like,
I mean,
I
hey.
swear to you, there was a part of my Yamaha four-wheeler that nobody would have ever known the part name or the like part number. Look, part numbers are
Yeah.
super crazy. ACLX
Oh,
P97. And look, when there was a time, me and my dad's like, dude, these phones are listening to us, because we got out like watching YouTube, like gun videos or something, or something crazy like that, or like car videos. Because look, I live in Appalachia, so we
right.
watch those type of things,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and it's like, hey, do you need this part? It's like, there's no way you weren't listening to me.
Is put in that dun dun dun
Yeah,
music in those
100%.
moments.
Alex Bezos, or what is it? Jeff Bezos. Yeah, Jeff
Yes.
Bezos. You crazy son gun. You are a
Oh
son
my
of a gun.
gosh. Oh, Bex. I had a I had a stroke, so I had to learn to use the text to talk. It's so
That's
frustrating.
brave. That's
Oh,
brave.
good on you.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that with us, because look, you're more of a
absolutely.
human in this moment than you like. Thank you so much for saying that.
Absolutely. Oh, man, so if anyone in the chat has any specific questions for Matt, I mean, by all means. But otherwise, Matt, what else is gonna go on for you upcoming? What can we look
Um,
forward to?
so I definitely have some interviews as far as like throughout January.
Okay,
I haven't
nice.
scheduled past January. I'm super pumped for it, because there are people who I never would have ever thought would have given me a shot, um,
Hmm,
a chance, and it's just super refreshing. One of the coolest things that I've ever experienced, and uh, I'm just so thankful. One of the things that I tell my wife all the time, I'm thankful to the end of the world for the people who have talked to me. And one of the people coming up that I'm going to chat with is Michael R. Miller. Um,
nice, yes,
yeah,
ascendant.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we
Uh,
have the same TBRs?
we literally, I think we do. So I had some written down. Some of my more immediate ones. So tomorrow's Monday, right? Yep, tomorrow's Monday.
Mhm.
I'm chatting with David Hopkins. He is the author of The Dryad's Crown.
I have that too, yep.
Oh, I'm so thankful you do,
Yes, I'm
because
looking forward to it, honestly.
so one of the things that let me see if I
I'm gonna try and grab it, hold on.
yeah, grab it. So he dedicated, yes, there it is. It's beautiful. And he dedicated this to his daughters. And when you open the book, you see this weird, it's not weird, it's almost, it's enticing. It's this picture of a tree with an umbilical cord coming from it. This
Oh.
this mother, yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yes.
yeah, there it is. You got it?
I got it.
There it is. Yeah, exactly. So this mother kind of like wakes up in the middle of the night. She hears her son or daughter, I don't remember, crying, and I believe it's a dream. But she goes to the tree, and it's like, I don't know the whole story. I haven't read it yet, but I'm so much looking forward to talking to him about his inspiration about it. Yeah, it's an epic fantasy to the core. I'm
Yeah.
very excited from it.
Hmm.
And then Tuesday, um, oh my goodness, I've been looking for. So one of the things as a booktuber you look forward to more than anything is, hold on, let me see if I've got it here. I don't. Oh my goodness, I should have had this ready. One
Oh,
of
I've
the
got a
things,
stack going.
yeah, and I know you have this book because we talked about it before.
Oh, I might
Uh,
find it.
one of the things as a booktuber you hope that you can do is inspire a debut novelist to send you their book, or get a hold of this and kind of find out that they're a debut novelist.
Hmm.
This one that I'm talking to Tuesday, which will be one day after his release date, is Rob Lee. And it's,
Mhm.
yes, I know you've got it. It's Pathlighter by Rob Lee. And let me tell you guys, yeah, there it is. It's look, we've got Felix Ortiz. He did the cover. He is doing things the right way. And I have to brag. Can I brag?
Oh, for sure.
I'm gonna brag. I don't usually brag. But he was on Instagram and he was just kind of like, man, I don't have a lot of people who want to read my book yet. And I'm like, bro, send that to me. I got you. He didn't have
Yeah.
a Twitter at the time. And I said, look, you have to do a Twitter. You have to, like, as an author, you're missing out on marketing opportunities, this and that. It's, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so
I'm so
good.
excited.
It's good pace, and he's got
Okay.
great character building. I'm
Love
about
it.
to finish it, and oh, it's so good. I'm not going to spoil anything for you ever. I would never do that to
I
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's so good. So I'm going
Mm,
to be talking to him Tuesday.
very nice. I'm
Um,
gonna be talking to him next week actually too.
I know I saw that, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you are because he deserves it. He does. He's
Oh,
such a humble
yeah.
guy. He's so nice. Um,
Something my motto is if I can help spread the word about books, about authors, absolutely I will.
I knew that you would be. I knew that you would
Yeah.
be. I told him to reach out to you. I said you have
I
to
saw
get a
that.
hold
Thanks.
of Kay's Hidden Bookshelf. She does a wonderful job. I can't find well, here's one that we talked about earlier. I can't wait to get to. War Song by Michael
Yes.
Michelle,
Michael
of
Michelle.
course. Um, what a nice guy. I haven't read that yet. I can't wait to. Anyway, after that, I'm talking to Isaac Anderson,
Okay.
who wrote The Garden Maze. My
That
wife
sounds
was holding it open. Yeah, it's like it's cool premise. It's I wish I could find it. It's like you can never prepare enough to have all these books and like great.
no. No, they're
But
never
it's like
within reach either.
yeah, exactly. So like yeah, so it's a really cool premise. It's like this maze, this labyrinth of things going wrong, and like this circus kind of thing. I haven't read it yet, but it's a promising debut from Isaac
Nice.
Anderson. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to be talking with Christopher Russell about Rebirth. Actually, I'm kind of reading that now, just like Kayla is.
Mm.
It's really good, very political, very military fantasy, very what did we say it was? Dense.
It's dense.
Um,
So, like, just offhand, I'm only 30 pages in. The prologue, just for everyone's disclosure, that's about 45 pages. It reminds me a lot of Malazan. It just drops you right into
yeah.
events, to the world. It throws you right in. So, definitely a very similar flavor so far.
And then to JDL Russell, the Last Ranger. Everybody knows him. He's an SPFBO finalist. Sam Paisley, his debut novel, The Elements of Time. Um, to me, I haven't started reading it yet. I'm so sorry, Sam. I haven't made. I told him I'd be done with it by we talk. I don't think that's going to happen.
Mm.
But it's like if I was to pinpoint just based off the premise, it's like a time travel science fiction fantasy. It's like Harry Potter meets science fiction.
Oh,
I can't
neat.
wait to get yeah. And then one of the ones that I have started. And listen, if you like a dark uh, theme, a prose that is dark
Mm.
in the most beautiful way, well, probably the most beautiful way that I've ever experienced through his prose. E.J. Dobble, The Fangs of War.
This
Oh
sounds so
my
familiar.
gosh.
Oh,
So he
yes.
has this premise, uh, this prologue that just grabbed me and was like, you don't know anything about dark material at all. And oh my goodness, I'm just looking forward to the rest of it. Benjamin Averin at the end of the month, and then I'll be a guest on Bald and Balding from Mike Molman.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's such a good dude.
He's such a nice guy. Sorry, it was right in front of my face.
Yes. Oh, have you started that?
I haven't. I'm it's one of those ones I'm looking forward to get into, but for that kind of,
Mm.
tone, I need to be in the mood, right?
I'm telling you, once you
So
find it, because I promise you, if you like a dark fantasy book, unlike it
oh, I
just really, I was reading at like 4 a.m. in the morning where I'm tired and it woke me up like, oh my gosh, this is something very special.
oh, that's awesome. Alright, I'm gonna try and get in the mood for that.
Yep,
It's just a different mindset, I
it
find.
is. It is. It is very much
You have
so.
to be a little bit more prepared.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have Caden. Caden is an upcoming author as well, I believe January or then sometime in the
January.
early new year, yeah.
Hmm.
And, Ed has a question, planning to head to Dragon Con next year.
Is that for me?
I'm assuming so, I'm probably not. I'm Canada, it's a little trickier.
Yeah, dude. Me and my wife are we've seen the pictures, we know what goes on there, and me and my wife are like setting up babysitters today.
That's awesome.
So 80% yes.
You're gonna meet so many amazing people.
It looks so fun.
And Daniel, says, "Ascendant is really good, but the rest of the books in the series are better."
With
You know
these
what?
ones,
I am so looking forward to it.
dude, he sent me all three of these hardbacks, and I'm like, oh my
That
gosh.
oh, they're so nice in the hardcovers. I've got the,
Dude,
paperbacks, and he sent me the 2nd, so the 2nd and the 3rd book. Yeah.
oh, they're so gorgeous. I can't wait to talk with him because he's a guy like Ryan Cahill, very dragon heavy.
Yeah.
There's another guy, Quintrell, is that his name?
I think
Philip
so.
Quintrell. Philip
Yeah.
Quintrell. I'm going to talk with him soon too. I can't
Yes.
wait.
Yeah, I think he just got picked up as, a trad contract too.
Oh wow,
I think, don't quote me on that, but I think I heard something along those lines.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and, Caden, who are you 2 hoping to interview next year?
Mm. Well,
Uh,
go. You
yeah.
go ahead. You go ahead.
I honestly have not thought that far. I mean, if if anyone has ideas, send them my way. I'm the type of person where I find it hard to plan too far out, like too many months. So I have December planned.
Mhm.
It'll be a little shorter in December because of the holidays,
Yeah.
but, I find if I plan out too far, I have a toddler. Life is just chaotic, so
Yeah.
I have to plan in a little bit more of a controlled time frame, but, I mean, there's so many amazing authors I'd love to sit down and chat with.
So
Charlie, come on. Let's go. You can't just say, "Just kidding." Send us a message.
no, so he's going to be on my. I'm waiting for the third and fourth party for Charlie to, because I'm going to have a bunch of reviewers on. A couple of them told me no because they're not very comfortable being on a live stream. But hey, when
Okay.
I find
Yeah.
those other two, Charlie, you will definitely hear from me. So my answer to who's coming, or yeah, who are the two hoping to interview? The one that I sought out is absolutely coming on January 12th, and I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Oh.
Nope, I'm sorry, I can't wait to tell you. It's very hard for me not to tell you because
Oh, that's a tease.
he is very, 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 very popular guy, and I can't believe he told me yes. So yeah, very soon though.
Oh, that's amazing. Alright, so stay all the more reason to check out his channel in the description below, hit those notify buttons, all the good stuff so you can find out
Thank you.
who he's gonna be interviewing.
Yes.
Yeah, Caden has some love there too for Pathlighter. Love to
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, I'm glad you've read it, Caden. It's one of those. He's got some deities. He's got some devilish creatures, but it's not grimdark. It's. I would say if you're 15, 16, so far what I've read, I haven't finished it 100% yet, but unless there's some no, I don't have Sanderson. Come on, those expectations are way too high.
Hey, you don't
But
know. Did you ask?
I have not asked, but very close, very close.
Fair. Or Abercrombie. That's a
That would be
second
cool.
guest.
That would be cool. You have to
Ed,
find out.
by all means, reach out.
Yeah.
Volunteers tribute.
Mhm.
Matt has a list of 653 people.
Close.
As big as the TBR pile, isn't that it?
Exactly.
Awesome. Matt, well, thank you so much. I think we'll wrap up if that's all right,
Yeah,
'cause I
100%.
it's, I mean, we've had a great chat, and everyone in the chat, you guys have been amazing too. Thank you so much for your time, for joining me, for chatting all kinds of nerdy stuff about books, writing. Absolutely adore it. So, thank you. Thank you so much, and, guys, I mean, if you're watching this after the fact, check out the link in the description below. Go subscribe. Beard of Darkness, fantastic content, quality content. Go
Mhm.
check them out.
Thanks, guys.